TED Talks, brought to you by Erbs and Gerbs. Go online and check out their delightful sandwich menus and soups. Order yourself something today.
Ted Schwerzler here with another TED Talks Twins Daily OffTheBaggy at TL Schwerz on Twitter. We have officially reached the halfway point in the Major League Baseball season. While obviously we've played more than 81 games at this point, the Minnesota Twins have reached the All-Star break. Both Sonny Gray and Pablo Lopez are representing them in the game. Unfortunately, Joe Ryan was not able to make the cut. He did pitch on the final Sunday of the season, so that's probably why Pablo Lopez was chosen as opposed to Ryan. Joan Duran, definitely a snub, one of the better closers in baseball this year, and he does not end up getting an All-Star nod. For the Twins, though, what an insanely underwhelming first half. They wind up starting the season as somewhat of an underdog, with Cleveland looking like they would be the favorite for the division, and virtually all first half, the Twins have looked like the best team on paper. The problem is the lineup is also written on paper, and on a nightly basis, it's a piece of paper you'd like to rip up and throw away. The Twins pitching has been one of the best pitching staffs in baseball. Gray, Lopez, Ryan, Ober have really held it down for Minnesota, and they've done so in a year where Pete Mackey is really kind of just getting his feet wet as a pitching coach after Wes Johnson left in the middle of last season. But your big signing, Carlos Correa, your team leader, Byron Buxton, a lot of guys that you would expect to produce are just not giving the club anything. Max Kepler continues to be almost a non-factor. Joey Gallo has not been good, although he has been basically what you would have expected from him out of the gate. It's unfortunate they have now seen Royce Lewis go down with another injury, this time a strained oblique that will keep him out for roughly 6 weeks. But Jorge Polanco has missed a substantial amount of time. Trevor Larnach has not really established himself as the left fielder of the future. Matt Wallner has raked at AAA, but with the Twins' insistence on continuing to roster Kepler, they just really don't have a spot for him. It's been a house of horrors from an offensive perspective, and they go into the break one game below 500 and a half game back in the division. Even with that said, Fangraphs still has them as the proverbial division favorite with roughly a 56% chance to make the playoffs. I think a lot of that is their schedule the rest of the way is looked at as the easiest in baseball. The Guardians are entirely mediocre, and they've done a good job being mediocre and hanging around. The Twins look mediocre. However, they should not continue to produce that way. And yes, we've been saying that for months now, and the hope would be at some point that it turns around. But that some point is definitely coming to a head, and they are running out of time. Rocco Baldelli is probably not on the hot seat, but David Popkins has not shown a process that works at all for Twins hitters. The Twins hitters have taken it upon themselves to lead those hitter meetings, and while that's been maybe a decent change, the results have not necessarily followed thus far. They do come out of the break with some games against the Athletics, which is always a good spot for a team to get right, and they absolutely have to. The Twins need to go on a run. They should be buyers at the trade deadline on August 1st, so creating some separation in the division prior to that is an absolute necessity. During the All-Star break over the weekend, they did select Walker Jenkins, the outfielder out of North Carolina, with the 5th overall pick in a draft where the top 5 picks were all seen as 1-1 considerations in almost any other year. So going chalk, even though there was some talk they may not do that, was a great move. And then they followed it up with a high-octane arm in Charlie Soto, who has touched triple digits. Definitely a prospect that is going to need some development. But the Twins go back-to-back high schoolers with their first 2 picks, and we'll have something to build around for the future. So it will be interesting to see how Minnesota comes out of the gate and what they can do to reestablish an identity as what should be the best team in the AL Central. At some point, it has to be prove-it time, and let's hope that the rest of the way is where they can find that.